Yo, what is good, everybody? Thank y'all for listening to the Adulthood podcast. You guys have been amazing. Thank y'all for all the love and support. We really appreciate it. We bring y'all here another good episode. This one gets a little wild. You get to hear Marty tell us a story about finding herself. For all the people out there finding yourself, this one you definitely got to listen to. If you think you have a wild story, this is a doozy. It's actually my birthday today too, so if you listen to this podcast, wish me happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Ian!
September 11th. If you want to see me on the road, I'll be at Roar Comedy Club this weekend, September 15th and 16th. That's in Springfield, Massachusetts. I'll be at Labs, Seattle, in the 22nd and the 23rd, and I'll be at the Comedy Store in San Diego next month, October 6th and 7th. Come see me live. I'm working on a new hour. Like I said, I want to film a special next year, so come check out how it's created. Where you gonna be, Adrian?
Let's do it in Africa. I'm gonna be in Africa.
We're doing it in Africa.
Gotta bless the rains down in Africa.
You'll get that when you listen to the pod.
Yes, sir.
Thank y'all for listening. Like, subscribe, tell us you love us. Peace.
Good night.
Welcome back to the Adulthood podcast. This is episode 22. We're doing it. This is the second episode we have drinks.
Yeah.
This isn't Drink Champs. We're not a drinking
not.
podcast.
It's not.
But this episode is released on a special day for me.
Yes.
Today, September 11th,
That's right.
is my 33rd birthday.
Feliz cumpleaños. Cheers,
Feliz
my brother.
Navidad.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Happy
you,
birthday.
man.
Happy
33 years old, bro.
That's the Jesus year.
I'm a grown man.
Yeah.
Jesus year.
There's no going back from this.
Half life.
Yep.
That's what there's a Spanish song. It said 33 years is the half life that you lived your half life.
Is it Tito Puente? Is it bachata?
No, but fair guess.
Okay, I'm shy.
Fair
I'm
guess.
shooting. You know,
Yeah.
I lived uptown. Que lo que? Shout out to me gente out there. You know.
Yeah, man, it's weird, especially being from New York, having a birthday on September 11th.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I remember when when 9/11 happened. The 9/11. I was 11 years old. I remember that birthday, and I remember I had a party. I was supposed to do a party for my friends we had like a big party planned that Friday, and it happened on a Tuesday.
Ooh.
And I remember but I was 11, so I'm like, man, this ruined my party.
Yeah,
you know
exactly. Yeah, this crust.
Yeah,
God
and then
damn
looking
it,
back,
Bin
you're
Laden.
like, wow,
Yeah.
wow. But look, never forget. But
Never.
it is my birthday. 33 years old.
Yeah.
Grown ass man. 33 years old. No kids. No marriage.
You're a
no,
unicorn.
No baggage.
That's what the ladies I've heard in the ladies specter, they call that a unicorn.
I'm getting to the point where no baggage is like a red flag. Like I'm getting that old.
Wow.
Where
It's almost
what
like
girls
what's
be
wrong
like,
with
what's
you?
wrong with you?
What's
Why
wrong
don't you
with you?
have
Yeah.
illegitimate kids in the street?
Yeah.
And I'm questioning myself.
Like, do I need Blue Chew? Is something not working?
Yeah.
Do I need to take vitamins?
Yeah. You get to a certain age as a guy where you're like, maybe a kid in the street would be fine.
Maybe.
Like who says I need to be married and happy or like the person that's gonna
healthy person.
be the mom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Have like actual steady income and a place to live. Like, who wants that?
Now you don't have kids.
No, I don't.
Do you feel the pressure?
I feel slight pressure just because, you know, your mom is basically at a certain point.
Yeah.
Don't bring no kids into the house, right?
You don't want kids?
No.
Oh,
you know,
she
when
starts
you start, you start fornicating, when you start getting some action with the ladies, it's like, don't bring no kids in the house.
Yep, I remember
and then
my
you get
13th
to the age
birthday.
where it's just like, it's like a roundabout, like a cul-de-sac where, you know, you're in a special neighborhood where it's just like, when are you going to start bringing some kids in the house?
Yep.
You know, and you don't really realize that transition, but we're in that stage. I'm in that stage.
Of course. I mean, you launch a successful podcast and people are going to start telling you to procreate.
Bro,
you know?
I'm wearing leather.
They want this legacy to keep on.
I'm wearing a leather outfit, bro. Of course. Like, this shit is growing.
All right, honest time.
Talk to me.
Truth time.
Yeah.
Have you ever lied about sex?
What do you mean?
Like even going back to like when you first started, have you ever like? Because I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
I lost my virginity fairly late.
Okay.
For a guy.
Okay.
I was 17 years old.
Is that late though?
For a guy, according to my friends, everybody at 11,
12?
everody was having
They was getting
orgies.
it popping?
If you
Yeah,
let my friends
yeah.
tell it, everybody was having
That's
orgies.
true. That's
so
true.
when I was getting up there and I hadn't sealed the deal,
Yeah.
I was like, okay, I think I need to just start saying I did it.
So
Yeah.
you was lying on yourself.
I didn't lie to my friends, but I lied to my first.
Okay.
Like the person I lost my virginity to, she thought that she wasn't the person I lost my virginity to. I wasn't honest with her. Yeah.
But in actuality, she's the one.
But in actuality,
she
she
took
was.
your innocence away from you.
Yes.
So was she experienced?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she
and
was.
You said that you always dated older women. Was she older?
She was a little bit older than me. We was in the same grade. She was a little bit older than me, but I never. Yeah, but I've never dated anybody under 18.
Okay.
Or a virgin.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good run.
That's an honor.
Yeah, that is an honor because when you take that innocence, man, that's a lot of pressure. That could be lifelong pressure. I don't think I've ever.
I feel like it used to be back in the day. Now I think like there's like an app to like lose your virginity. Like and no one cares anymore.
Nah, but remember from last episode or 2 episodes ago, what was it, 19 when it was the was it 6'4"?
Oh, the 6'4" virgin.
He was 27. He was a virgin.
Yeah.
You know? So it happens maybe like lightning every now and then.
But I think what was going on with him, and shout out to him, is that I think that he was putting too much thing on it.
Too much on the it was pedestalizing it.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a real word,
yeah.
but you know, we just put it out there. No,
Right.
I feel you. I definitely, but you know what? That's a good thing that's a funny point that you bring up because I remember that age where, you know, around 14, 15, 16, and you know, whoever had the free crib, that's probably the person who was probably going to talk about like, yeah, I lost my virginity versus, you know, you might have had opportunities too. I don't know if it was you. I guess I lost mine late 16, 17. I don't remember, but it was more so that, you know, we lived in an apartment, no privacy, you know, mom's going to work and she's at home by the time you come home. You're not cutting school because you're scared of getting put out. So it's just, you never had the room to. And then,
well, you know, I got circumcised at 15.
Yeah.
So
was it a brie? They call it a brie, right?
Yeah. So I before
Did
I
Rabbi Johnson do yours?
No. I went. He was busy. He was booked.
Okay.
He was booked.
Yeah.
But I remember I came home and I told my dad. I think I told my dad first. Hey, I want to get circumcised. And he. And,
How did he take it?
He was offended.
Yeah.
You know, they're Dominicans. They don't believe in that. He took it personally. Like I was questioning his parenting skills. And I was like, this is not a personal thing. And if I'm being honest, the Adulthood podcast is all about honesty, truth telling. I wasn't comfortable with how my member looked.
Wow.
So I took initiative and I called a doctor.
I feel like Sally Jessica Raphael right now. You pouring out your whole story. Keep going.
Yeah.
Like, what's her name?
I wasn't comfortable with the look of it. At that age, I saw other ones. And I was like, why? You know, because I was on the basketball team and, you know, and I was like, why doesn't mine look like that?
Yeah.
So I went to a doctor and then I get this.
Okay.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy? Like people think it's weird or people think like, they're like, what, whatever. But like after I did it, I didn't get like 8 of my friends did it.
So you were a trendsetter? You
just
started
off
off
the
with
trend
the snip trend?
that I said.
That's
Like
crazy.
8 of my friends went and got it done.
Wow. Okay.
Just like after they saw I survived it.
Did you get a discount or something? Like, you know,
I had a discount code.
Yeah.
I had a discount code.
Put Ian Lara Live.
Hashtag
20%
snip
off.
snip for 20% off your circumcision in high school. Yeah.
Your high school circumcision. All right. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So I remember at that time, like a lot of I like before I got circumcised, I didn't want to have. You remember when you used to get
shy,
scared, like of like girls?
Yeah.
Not like scared of girls, but like whenever you thought about like hooking up or anything, you used to get scared.
Can we just address the elephant in the room? The reason why you were scared is because number one, you thought your joint was probably small. She made fun of it. That's it. You're never gonna pull it out. Or number two, you felt like maybe, damn, I don't know how to do this. I might be whack. And that's another thing where she gonna laugh. Like imagine you pull it out and she laughs. That's a lot of people never made it back from that. Bro.
Also, you know, women like when you're in high school, like they not just women, both the boys and the girls, they're everyone's delusional.
Yeah,
like these high school girls are like, oh, I need 8 inches, and you're like, and then as a guy, you're like, all right, I guess this is what I gotta get to.
What in the bang bus have they been watching?
And then you become an adult and you find out that women don't want that actually. That it's a detriment to their
insides.
Yeah. That they don't prefer that.
Yeah.
And it's a learning experience. But back then, yeah, I don't know if that what it was, but I remember I remember making out with girls, whatever, but like never took this stuff. Which, by the way, this is the Adulthood podcast. I feel like waiting till you're a little bit older is better.
It's 100% better. You don't know what you're doing. Some people still don't know what they're doing.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say waiting until you're older to have sex is better.
That's an adulthood public service announcement. Go ahead. You sound like you could be down in a Christian church down in Texas somewhere. Keep preaching.
All of my friends, excuse me, all of my friends, or not my, but like the people that I knew that were sexually active early on. I feel like a lot of them peaked early. So they were like having sex by the time they were 14. They were pregnant by like 18. You know, divorced by 21. And now they're like living like they're 18
again. Yeah. And, you know, that's the opposite of 21. Can you do something for me? But you know what? You bring up a good point. That's one of the things that always scares me is when you hear people say that, oh, yeah, the best years of my life was in high school. So you mean to tell me that?
Red flag.
Wait.
Red flag. Pause. Red flag alert.
I just met you. Let's say you meet somebody in their 30s or something, right? And you know, even if they did an extra year, let's say you graduated 18, 19, you know, maybe you was a bad test taker. So you mean to tell me this whole time, you know, as life has proceeded, that was those weird, awkward ass moments of your life were the best times of your life? That's crazy.
If somebody tells you that high school was the best time of your life,
delete
them from your phone. Yep. And I would say file a police report.
Never talk back to them again. Yeah.
Because this you don't want this person.
Yeah. In your life. You don't. You don't need them.
You want to. In fact, I would argue you want a person that those might have been the worst years of their life, and they grew into the cool, successful person that they are now.
Because they have character.
They lived both sides.
Character. They understand it. Yeah.
They lived both sides.
High school, I feel bad for these kids nowadays because they got everything. Everything is online. High school is a weird fucking time. Your knees is hurting because you're growing. You got acne. You got all these hormones attacking you at the same time where it's just like, hold on. Wait a minute. I just thought you random thought. And the next thing you know, you're on full attention. And that's when the teacher want to ask you to read the Bible or something in class. Like, hold on, wait a minute, I can't do this right now.
Been there. Yeah. I mean, my knees never hurt because, you know,
you still didn't grow that much. Yeah,
everything else you said, I was on board with.
Yeah, right. It's like awkward, and then like your face, your voice changes. You go from Mickey
Were you one of those
Mouse
kids that broke out? Did you used to break out?
Oh, it was terrible. Yeah.
I always had pretty good skin. I never broke out, but
lucky for you.
Yeah, but everything else, was a problem. And then like I always found like the people that were like. Cause we like I was cool in high school. Like I was cool. Like I was one of the cool kids, I guess. But the people who are like the top of the food chain in high school, I feel like that's not great, man.
That's so weird, right?
It's not great.
You wanted to be the top of the food chain in high school. What does that even mean?
It's too early, yeah. And what's valued in like high school, college, even the early 20s, it's not valuable in life.
It doesn't matter in real life at all.
Being on the whatever team or in whatever fraternity, whatever, that don't pay the bills.
That shit scares me, bro. Because people really hold on to those ideologies and that livelihood. It's like, there's so much that happens in life, bro. You know?
Shout out to them, though. Shout out to all the dudes that peaked in high school. You know, it was a good 4 years.
Keep reminding everybody.
Let's keep talking about it. Keep bringing up that game when you threw 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
cool.
Absolutely. At halftime, and then you had to switch your cleats or something. Yeah, cool.
You know. What's your take on feet? Or do you like feet? Are you sucking them? Are you pouring hot syrup on them?
That was the most aggressive like switch of topic I've ever been a part of.
We don't do segues here.
I'm an adulterer also.
You know why I asked though?
Why?
Because I feel like every woman that I meet now is considering selling feet pics.
I mean, because there's a market for that. There's a real big market.
They say there is, but who are these men that are paying for the feet pics? Because we're living amongst them.
Bro,
are you paying for feet pics?
I'm not paying for feet pics at all, but it's a lot of dudes. You know what we say, we don't shame nobody. All adulterers, however you want to play, that's how you play. But for me personally, absolutely not.
Call in. Who's the man? Yeah. Send us an email.
What is it? What's our number?
If you're paying for feet pics, send us an email, because every guy that I've ever met swears that he would never pay for feet pics. And then that is a thriving market for it.
You look at his Venmo transactions or his bank transaction is, $5.99 going to world.com. It's like, hold on, wait a minute.
Johan, you paying for feet pics?
You like feet?
I mean, I like feet, but
what would you pay for like a photo person? of a nice
I mean, I would rather a nice foot than an
ugly one. Sure,
absolutely,
sure. But all right. So what do you say for like a nice pedicured right foot? Give me a price. What's a good rate?
The suspense is killing us right now. Shout out to Marty cracking up. You paying $10?
Pedicured right foot.
10 a month?
That's that's the good one.
I mean, 10 a month is like a Netflix subscription.
So what you doing individual? You doing like iTunes 99 cents a pick? How you doing it?
I mean, it would have to be.
Wow, he's paying as you go.
What would you pay? Who's your celebrity crush?
Celebrity crush?
Yeah, who do you think is attractive?
Margot Robbie?
Okay.
Barbie.
Okay.
Barbie. Now, what are you willing to pay for an autographed, framed, right foot manicured in pink, her color, in pink Barbie color toenails picture?
One
photo, signed.
Yo, this is crazy.
I don't know if I could come up with a price though.
Wow.
So if I told you I could get you one for $100, would you buy it?
Are you
I don't know if I would pay for that though, because it's online. It's already online.
But this is personalized. She signed it to Johan Love Barbie.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm that down bad.
I think you might subscribe for a couple.
Because he's thinking about it. It wasn't an automatic no.
The consideration.
I think he got some subscriptions in there. That's crazy. All right,
who are the men paying for feet pics?
Man, bro,
for a famous person, it's kind of different because like it's already online.
You ever been on a train and saw a girl's feet and was turned on?
Oh.
I'm not gonna expound.
Yeah, please don't, because you're gonna end up on some type of list.
This is the adulthood pod after dark.
I don't get it. Like, and I'm not.
Bro,
we don't kink shame. Everyone's an adult here.
Yeah,
but I don't.
Okay, have you ever had a chick that was into your feet like too much?
Yeah.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, we have discovered uncharted territories. Please expound. What?
I had that.
She was all in there licking your feet and stuff?
Listen, we don't kink shame here at the Adulthood Podcast. Part of being an adult is accepting what you're into and acknowledging it and doing it, in a respectful manner.
Okay.
I spoke to a girl once that she really liked feet, which is like, I mean, if I don't understand a woman's feet, liking a man's feet, I mean,
that's just absurd.
That's borderline.
That's crazy. But there's somebody for everybody out there. That's true. That's a very true statement.
Yeah. Now, obviously, you see a nice feet, and I'm like, oh, those look nice. But I never was like, oh, I'd be willing to subscribe and pay a monthly fee to continue to see these.
No. But then again, those kind of dudes, they probably just into something different. They wired different. A lot of that happens when they're younger. They might get exposed to something.
Maybe they got kicked in the head.
And they liked it. As a kid. From their crush. That happens. You get wired. And then next thing you know, it's just like, you're a foot connoisseur.
Every girl I speak to tells me she's considering selling feet pics now. Marty, will you ever sell your feet pics? No. Good. That's why you're here. You're classy broad. You're a good
Cheers
one.
to you. Cheers to you.
I know there's girls listening to right now like, she's lying. She's definitely
there's a lot of girls. There's a lot of girls listening like, these niggas need to shut the fuck up. Like, I paid my mortgage and shit from selling feet.
No. If you're doing it, look, if you're selling your feet pics
and you getting over,
send us a message. We'll have you on the pod.
Shout out.
We want to talk. We want to talk about it.
Before we move on, big shout out to everybody that's been listening to the pod, that's been letting us know like, yo, we fuck with the pod. It's hilarious, y'all. This, that, and the third. You know what I'm saying? Because we really appreciate it. It goes a long way, and a lot of people have been like saying, how can they submit questions and how can they be a part? Yo, hit the DMs, Adulthood Pod, right, on IG.
At Adulthood Pod on IG.
Hit us on the DMs.
Or you can call Marty directly at 818-670-7734.
Adulthood Pod.
That's Marty's phone number.
Spells.
That's her personal phone number.
I think we should get a fax.
Call at any time. She's available.
You want a fax?
We should get a fax.
Yeah, let's get a fax. Let's take it back.
That would be cool if we started receiving faxes during the podcast.
Right?
We should get a fax machine.
Shout out to
tell the boss lady.
Yeah, shout out to Bertha. The fax line is open.
Get us a fax machine.
Yeah, Ruth. What's up, Ruthie? I see you over there.
The feet. Now talking about weird kinks and fetishes. What's your take on this? I had a lady tell me that she was once hooking up with a guy. Right?
Did she peg? Is she a pegger?
No, it wasn't that.
Oh, okay. Did I jump the gun?
Same neighborhood, but not that. She said she was hooking up with a guy, and they hooked up in the shower, and she noticed that he had a suction cup dildo hooked into the shower, in his shower. What's your take on that?
Here at the Adulthood Pod, we love everybody.
Everybody.
Freakiness has no gender, has no
freakiness
race,
has no
creed.
gender.
If you want, however you decide to get freaky in your shower, if you're paying your bills on the first of the month, more power to you.
Yeah. All right. What's the real answer?
Was that for another lady or was that for his enjoyment?
I asked that. I said, what was your first thought? She said, I thought it was awkward. I didn't know what to say.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, well, did you raise the question, hey, what's this? And she was like, eventually I did. And he was, which shout out to him. He was just honest. Like, hey, this is just,
that was his.
He
owned it. Hey,
that was his.
Shout out to him.
And you know what's interesting about the whole situation that she told me, he was like, because I was mind blown just because, you know.
Yeah.
I never heard of something like this because I feel like if you have a suction cup dildo, maybe put it away before you invite a lady into the shower.
At least. Because that's the least you could do.
It's not like it was on your living room and she saw it. It's in the shower. You know that you have it.
At a certain height? Was it at a certain height?
Right.
Okay.
And
so there was thought behind this. This wasn't no random.
Yeah, what she said that surprised her the most was that he was like one of those big, like jacked bodybuilder guys. And she couldn't imagine, you know.
Well, you know what? And this is if we're gonna venture into this territory, we might as well just venture all the way.
We're venturing, baby.
But I've heard some adult female entertainers on interviews or podcasts, they explain that some of the male performers, they'll, you know, engage in intercourse with other male performers, but say that they're not gay.
Gay for pay. That's a thing.
Gay for pay. But not even that. That just they're into the dominance of sex. So they just want to dominate the full spectrum.
Is that offensive, Marty, to gay people? Gay for pay people?
I don't think so.
I wonder, because it's kind of monetizing, like,
I don't know.
Is that gay appropriation?
Yeah, it's kind of appropriating.
That's appropriating
your
gay
thing.
I personally don't take offense to anybody having sex for money or in any way.
Yeah, but you can't appropriate the gay.
You can't just take it and do it for money.
And then
I'm willing to do it for free.
Yeah. Wait, are you willing to do it for free?
No, I'm saying like
the person.
The person, the person would be willing to do it for free.
Yeah.
And yeah, I wonder.
Yeah.
Do you think it's offensive to gay people?
I believe so. Okay. That's like people who come and say that they're DJs, but they just copied their friend's library. They didn't put no work into this. They didn't earn this.
Well, I think if you said you were straight for pay, that's offensive.
That's definitely offensive
to straight people.
Is it?
Yeah. Be who you are.
Yeah. Don't love yourself. Don't love thyself.
Yeah. Don't be somebody else for money.
That's right.
Or be whoever you want for money.
Just get tested.
Yeah. How often when you was outside, how often was you getting tested?
Oh man, it was a very frequent occasion.
Because I was getting tested like maybe every 6 weeks.
That's you know what? Is there something wrong with that? That's called being healthy.
The doctor said it's unnecessary because at that point you don't even have enough time for if you did have something for it to incubate and show up on the test.
Okay.
Yeah, so you got to spread it out. They said at least every 3 months.
Okay.
Yeah. I remember one time I went to the doctor to try to get a test, and like the doctor, he just didn't want to give it to me.
Really? Just shut you down?
Well, he was just like, why? Like I was like, what, you know, like I have insurance, and you know, I had a crazy weekend.
Was this the doctor that was like familiar with you, like knew who you were?
Well, a lot of my doctors, like I told you I had one doctor, I had to get rid of her. Yeah. And then my other doctor, he found out that I was a comedian, and then he's cool, but they joke like when they think you're a comedian.
Their material?
They're like, oh, what are you, a comedian? Oh, like, is this herpes?
Well,
I'm like,
that's not funny.
No, it's not funny.
This is the worst time to make a herpes joke.
Yeah. But you know, you laugh because you know your pants are down
and they have all control.
So you give him a laugh. But yeah, he but I remember like going to him and he was just like, they don't like to give you STD tests if you don't have outbreaks, or you kind of have to like really be like, hey, no, I want one, I gotta get one.
That's kind of crazy, right? If you think about it in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah. Well, I know men, if you think that's crazy, I know men that are like, literally, I never took an STD test. This is like 30-year-old men.
That is gross. They probably are a walking petri dish. Ladies, if you encounter these men, stay away from them. That's crazy.
That's insane, right?
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's so disgusting. It's just, you know, I know it's a lot of pressure, especially if you don't have the best insurance, so you're not going to your actual doctor. You might be going to the clinic, and they're not the best. You know, we all done had the clinic experience. I remember in college one time, you know, spring break or whatever, and then it's just like, I gotta go to the clinic, and then they make you feel bad, and they can't pronounce your name or whatever. But like, you know, you live through it, but you got to do it. You don't want to be out here just dirty dicking. It's just like, that's gross. Those are the same niggas that's just like, oh, condoms, what? And then next thing you know,
condoms.
Yeah.
I mean, I read an article. This is like a real article that was like the head of Trojan was like mad that like people aren't buying condoms. He was like, he was like complaining. He was like blaming like medicine, like the advancement in medicine. He's like, well, everybody feels like they're just safe from STDs, so the sales of condoms are going down.
That's crazy.
Yeah. But to be a man in your late like 20s, 30s and never have taken an STD test. Look, if you're listening now, go take an STD test.
Go take an STD test. They got vans. You can book it online. Something, I don't know, but go clean your dick, bro.
Yeah, that's the recommendation that I would give.
Adulthood Pod.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pro tip.
How was the weekend, bro?
Where was I? This was good. This is my last weekend here in New York for like a little while. I'm going on the road now. So I was doing shows all over the city, running around, doing shows. People, you know, doing the shows I was at the Comedy Cellar, Gotham, and the Stand. People coming up to me, telling me they listen to the pod every time. I'm like, what? I can't believe it.
Thank you so much, guys. Appreciate you. Happy birthday, Connor.
Connor?
I don't know. It was actually, it's one of my teammates from Fordham.
Okay. It's his birthday?
No, it's never his birthday. And we used to say that shit all the time. And the coaches would be like, Connor, it's your birthday because we don't want to run anymore. Oh. And then they caught on to it and we just kept it doing. You know, kept it going. Yeah.
Got it.
So happy birthday, Connor.
Got it.
Yeah.
Wait, but what was your take on the feet thing? Like, do you like feet? Are you impartial?
That's a good callback. I feel like, you know, I do appreciate a nice, is it pedicured? A nice pedicured foot. You know, here's a pro tip, guys and girls, especially before the weather gets warm. You don't want to wait until it's the first like nice day and you're gonna have your feet out and you ain't already had done like 3 or 4, you know, appointments. It's compounding. You want to make sure you see your person, your nail technician or whatever, maybe 6 to 8 weeks before the summer, so this way you don't have all that dry stuff on there. You know, take care of yourself.
Have you dealt with you ever dealt with a lady where the feet,
the dogs who let the dogs out? Roof,
yeah,
roof, yeah.
You have?
Yeah.
Damn. Did you say something or did you?
I mean, it didn't last long.
Are you the kind of guy to say something, or are you like me where you'll just live through it and then tell it on a podcast 10 years later?
The latter.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the latter. Yeah, for sure.
What was that, Marty?
I think she's saying you're full of shit or we're full of shit.
Why'd you say that?
I don't know.
Eye gouging.
Oh, the eye gouging.
That's the eye gouge sign.
Yeah, the eye gouging.
I thought it was the thumbs though. You got to use the thumbs, right?
That's the thumbs?
Yeah, it was the thumbs.
It was the thumbs. I want to get those shirts made. Like I went to Minnesota and all I got was my eyes gouged.
That is the next piece of merch. Also, shout out to the people who DM'd about the face was that the face tour shirt? Where we going?
Oh yeah. They want to get the tour shirts.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, this is like from a couple episodes ago. Shout out to everyone that replied about. Remember we did the thing about the note. If a guy hands you a note,
yeah.
And I think everyone was on our side. So
yeah,
sorry,
absolutely.
Marty, but everyone was like, yeah. If somebody hands your partner a note in the middle, you're entitled to be like,
yeah.
What's that about?
Yeah. Big shout out to my man Adrian at Miss Lily's. I will be there.
You going back to Miss Lily's?
Yeah, I'm going back to Miss Lily's, man.
Miss Lily's classic spot.
When this drops, I had already rocked the party. But yeah, we're going back to Miss Lily's. We're gonna do Labor Day Sunday. You know, big shout out to all the West Indians, and I think we're gonna bring it back every other Friday. You know, I think so. We gotta get the people. Yeah, we gotta get the people outside. We gotta get the people. You know, I'm wearing
those Miss Lily days because you was I remember I would go and you was DJing, but it kind of felt like you wasn't like because
I was partying.
You was just like around.
Isn't that the best kind of party? Like the best kind of party is where everybody's having a good time.
Yeah,
you know. So I think we're gonna bring that back, or we might call it Adulthood Pod Fridays or something. You know. Yeah. Should we get Brugal as the sponsor?
We could. We could, man. The possibilities
absolutely
are endless.
But what was I gonna say? He listens to the pod on his drive home. So just, you know, shout out to everybody that listens to the pod, especially if you're traveling on the airplane, the train, you know, driving, doing your thing. We appreciate you.
I love that people listen to it publicly and can't hold back laughter.
That's the best part. That's the highest compliment.
What, Marty?
Oh, I'm sorry. I wasn't raising my hand. I was making a square with my pen.
Why?
It's like a nervous tick.
Nervous ticks.
Okay.
What would you do? You want to date somebody, just start making a square with their pen?
Hey, I like squares.
Alert the authorities.
You want to play Connect 4?
Weirdo.
You should know. You're a Virgo. You should know.
Oh, is it Virgo season? It's
Virgo
officially
season
Virgo
about nervous
season,
ticks?
right?
Yeah, like you're just like needing to finish a shape.
Yeah,
Like
I
OCD.
guess. You're Virgo. What? Rising.
Virgo rising.
Rising.
Yeah.
When is your out? But you're a Cancer, right?
Yeah.
Cancer star.
I'm a Cancer sun. And
Cancer sun.
Sagittarius moon.
Yeah. Okay, Sagittarius. That's what, January or December?
December.
What was the birthday you went to Africa? How old were you turning?
I was 22.
Oh,
22
like this
years old?
episode.
I was
Do you-
22. Yeah.
Oh, you were 22? You want to tell that story for the 22nd episode?
For the 22nd
Yeah,
episode.
about
Was
where you
Taylor
go to.
Swift on your
We gotta
playlist?
paint. We gotta paint because to people, to most people, everybody sees us. They don't know who Marty is.
They don't.
Marty could be literally anyone. They have no idea who she is.
It's amazing.
Now, Marty likes to live freely. She doesn't subscribe to, like, you know how they say, like, you have to be careful because you can get murdered or sex trafficked.
Or kidnapped.
Marty doesn't hear these types of news.
No, she doesn't.
She kind of goes by the everyone is nice, everyone's a nice person, and everyone is harmless, right? So for your 22nd birthday,
It wasn't my birthday. It was Christmas.
For Christmas?
Yeah, for Christmas.
you
when I was
decided to go
22.
where?
Chase the reins.
So I was like, so the year before I was in a relationship and I used to waitress.
Mhm.
When I was a waitress, I would be like, oh my God, if I ever get out of here, I would listen to the Toto song, Bless the Rains Down in Africa all the time.
Yeah.
Dum, 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 dum. Can we get this under in the post production? Whoever. Yeah, we got to put Toto in there. I'm sorry.
Oh man, if I ever get out of I'm only telling this because no one will ever see my face and my last name is on this podcast.
No.
But if I was like, if I ever get out of here, I'm gonna go to Africa. That's what I'm gonna do. I was like, that's what
You're like Dave Chappelle.
I'm like,
She is.
You're basically Dave Chappelle.
Marty Chappelle.
I'm gonna go to Africa and that's gonna be my sign. And I'm like, that's what healing is gonna be, and healing's gonna be blessing the rains down in Africa. So I moved to Europe the next year and I looked on. I didn't have a working phone, but I had an iPad.
I didn't have a working phone.
I didn't have it. Yeah.
What year is this?
I didn't have a working phone, but I had an iPad, and so I would look on Google Maps on my iPad that I could trace with my finger the train route from Vienna, Austria, where I was, to Morocco, which was technically Africa.
Yes.
So, and I was like, and you know how you can see on a map that there's the little dotted line over the water, and that means a boat goes there?
Yes.
So I was like, oh, a boat goes to Africa. I'm going to take the boat to Africa. So I had 2-3 weeks off for Christmas, and I was like, I'm going to bless the rains down in Africa. So I bought a train pass. And Europe's big, so it took a really long time to get from, I think I did Vienna to Frankfurt to Paris to Barcelona to Madrid. And then at Madrid was when it kind of got real, because you're oh man, the last stop is the coast of Spain.
Yeah.
And then you get to the dotted line. And there's there's 2 places to take the boat to Africa. Don't do the one that I did.
Mm-hmm.
So just sharing that information. So you can take it from, I'm going to butcher this, but Algiers or something like that.
Yeah.
Or you could take it from Tarifa. Tarifa is the one that goes to Tangier Med, which is it goes to Tangier, which is the city that everybody knows. And Algiers is the one that goes to the gateway to Europe from when people walk through Africa and rush the border.
Yeah.
That's where the one at Algiers goes. So I got to Algiers and I was like, okay, look at me, I did it. I was so excited. I got off the train and I was I had a little hammock in my backpack.
This was
and
by yourself, right?
I was by myself.
By yourself.
At 22.
22 years old.
Yeah.
By yourself.
With
no
no
cell
phone.
phone.
Yeah.
In the middle of in Africa.
Yeah.
In December.
Yeah. And I had my phone worked as an iPod. So I could get Wi-Fi on it, but it didn't work as a phone. And I think
Now, at no point were you hey, I'm gonna go to Africa. Maybe let me get a phone.
No.
Did you email like your parents like, hey, I'm still alive?
No.
Okay. All
I
right.
think, I talked to, like, while I was doing it, I was calling people and I was like, I'm going to Africa. Like, I remember getting to the hostel in Madrid and like telling the boy who checked me at the hostel, like, I'm going to Africa. And he was like, you're a dumbass.
Yeah, I mean,
like-
I tweeted that, but I think that's like, you don't really hear black people say they stood at a hostel.
No.
That's not a black trait.
No, it's not.
To stay at a hostel. Well, I saw that there was this hostel like pair where it was like there was the same company or the same like name hostel, and there was one in Tangier and then there was one across at Tarifa. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to stay at both. It's going to be such a vibe. This story does not make me look good, but sure, guys.
Are you just like, do you just have no fear?
I think
She grew up in Alaska.
I was really convinced that I was like, healing is blessing the rains down in Africa. So, but when I got to Algiers, I remember like I went to the hotel across the street from, I remember what stuck out was that it was dark when I got there, which is like the number one thing you shouldn't do. But I was like, oh, I'm going to take the boat in the morning. That way I arrive in the daylight and I'm like so on top of it and it's going to be such a vibe. And I got to Algiers and it was dark and I went into this hotel.
It was nighttime?
Yeah. And I was like, hey, girly, like there was someone at the desk and I was like,
Hey, girly.
Hey,
where
girly.
can I put I was like, I had a hammock. I was like, where at the beach can I put my hammock so I can just like sleep here and then get on the boat in the morning? And she was like,
Wait a minute. Your plan was to sleep on the beach.
On the beach?
yeah. Because the boat was at like 5 a.m.
In Africa.
No, at the coast of Spain.
And what time did you get there?
11 p.m.
Okay, so you just had to sleep a couple hours.
Yeah, like it wasn't that long. It didn't make any sense for me to stay somewhere, I thought. And she was like, you're a dipshit. You cannot sleep on the beach. Like, this is not an option.
Yeah.
She was like, you need to get a hotel. And I could tell she, like, didn't think I took her seriously. So she was like, here's the Wi-Fi for free. Go book a hotel. And I was like, well, this is a hotel. And she was like, this one's booked. Book a different hotel. And I was like, okay. So I booked what was like the cheapest. I think it was like 12 euros or something like that, a hotel. And it was a hotel, not a hostel. And it was 12 euros. So that should have been my first red flag. But it was like, I was the only person staying there. And I had to like walk to
There was no other occupants in the hotel.
No. It was really, 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 really old.
Can we pause right here?
Yeah.
It was 12 euros for the hotel.
Yeah.
I paid 35 euros for a drink in Santorini. So, like you said, that was a red flag, right?
Yes.
It was a red flag.
Okay,
yeah.
please expound.
Yeah, so it was like 12 euros for the hotel, and I checked in, and it was like, it kind of looked like something out of the Addams Family. And the guy was wearing like a bellhop hat, and there weren't any women anywhere. That stood out to me.
Is that red flag number 2?
That was red flag number 2. There was a bunch of guys standing outside the hotel.
Can we just pause right here also? That's a red flag in just my life where you go to an event and there's not too many women. Like if it's not a gym or a basketball.
Yeah.
Like, if
And
there's
you're a
not any
6'5"
women around.
ex-security
Yeah.
guard.
If there's not any women around, I'm like, okay, we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
All right. Please expound.
Yeah, so I checked in and I went upstairs, and that was like where shit got real to me, because I had my little backpack. I had a backpack, and then I had a little one that I put in front. And I got up to the hotel room, and I'm like, oh, a lot of people have died here.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people have died here. And they put me like at the end of this hallway. And as soon as I shut the door, I could hear that somebody, like a bunch of guys had come up and followed me upstairs, and they were standing outside the hallway.
Oh my God.
And I remember before I left, I like went to one of my friends, and she was like, what do you have for defense? And I was like,
what do you have for defense?
Like, was I bringing like pepper spray or something?
What do you mean, one of your friends?
And I was like,
You called her, or you messaged?
well, I didn't have Wi-Fi when I got there. I think it took me a bit to get Wi-Fi, but I had a little pocket knife that I took to Africa that had a knife that was about this big.
Yeah.
So I sat on the other side of the door, so if they opened it, it would have to go against my body weight with my little knife.
Now, are you scared at this point?
At that point, I was like, okay, like, I'm not turning back now, because, like, I was like, absolutely fucking not. I got all the way here. Like, it took me so long to get there, because I got there via train.
Yeah.
Like, and I literally just, like... And
this is still in Spain?
I was still in Spain. Yeah, it was... Algiers is... Basically, so there's a Spanish city in Morocco, and that's where people will rush the border from Africa to get into Europe, because once you get into Europe from that Spanish city, you don't have to present a passport coming back to mainland Europe. So this border crossing is where people who rushed the border would come and then get sent back to Africa.
Yeah.
So it was like a real...
So you're like the only white girl. Like there's no...
Oh, for a very long...
Yeah, for hours.
Yeah, for a very long time.
Yeah.
And so...
Do you speak Spanish?
Not a word.
Or Arabic?
No
Nope.
Spanish, no
No
Wi-Fi,
Arabic.
no cell phone.
No. I don't think I really realized how... I had 17 euros on me because my big,
She had 17 euros
After paying 12 for the hotel. Okay, all right.
Don't worry, listeners.
All right.
I know some of y'all thinking, how could she do this? But she had 17 euros on her. So
17
she was
euros.
prepared.
Because I hadn't looked up the exchange rate. I also had like it was like a thing that I did at the time. I do it less now, but I kind of do it just because it's fun still, where I draw a map of where I'm going to go instead of using my phone. So I'll draw myself a little map of Europe. So I had like a hand-drawn map of Europe in a book. And
She's like Columbus. She had 17 euros and a hand-drawn map in Spain.
So like I was really excited, and I was like, I'm fucking not turning back now. But I was like, at that point I got Wi-Fi sitting there with my little knife, and I was like, called one of my friends, and I was like, yo, what the fuck do I do? And she was like, well, you're still going to Europe. Or she was like, you're still going to Africa, right? And I was like, I'm blessing the rains down in Africa. And she was like, so you're just gonna stay up all night? They're going to go to bed at some point, because I could like hear them outside the door. And she was like, they're going to go to bed at some point. Oh my God. And I think I even might have I feel like I did something really stupid. Like I left the hotel room at
What
some
did you think?
point.
What did you do that you thought was stupid?
I left the hotel room, and I like walked by.
You heard them outside? You was like, let me leave?
And I left the hotel room.
You are a brave heart.
Because I was hungry. And then I went downstairs, saw how many guys there were downstairs.
How many?
Maybe at least 20. They were all like sitting in groups, and I was like, and they just
looked
at
Marty.
me like they had seen a ghost, and I was like, there is no Pringles here. Okay, great.
You went to get Pringles.
Pringles or Doritos or something that I could eat. And I remember, and it was like, and the only thing, it was like a Spanish or Moroccan food little stand thing, and the guy was like, it looked really, it was not clean, and the guy just looked at me, and I was like, I'm not gonna eat. This isn't vegetarian.
Yeah.
And like, so I went back upstairs. And like,
were you scared? You don't seem like you were scared though.
I got scared the next day. Like I was.
Wait, this is just
there. You're just living, right? You're just like fine.
What?
I was just like chilling at that point.
Because
Like
you had to bless the rains.
Because I was gonna bless the rains. So
That's another T-shirt. Bless the rains. Yeah. All right.
So I was like, and like I remember. When I stayed up all night, and then they left eventually. I think they just felt bad for me. That was kind of the vibe that I got.
Yeah.
They left eventually, and I wanted to get out of there as soon as possible. So as soon as I heard them leave, I waited maybe like an hour till like 4 a.m. or something, and then I left. And the guy was like, "You're checking out?" Kind of like, "Where the fuck are you going?"
He was surprised you were alive. It's like you made it out.
I forced myself to look under the bed of that hotel, which I think was
how dirty was this hotel from 1 to 10? The room.
It was really dirty. It was
1 to 10.
8. There wasn't anything that had been
10 being
cleaned.
the dirtiest. It was an 8.
Yeah, there wasn't
Damn,
anything that was
pretty
clean. It was like it would probably been cleaned a few months prior. Like that was kind of like my feeling.
Was there a bathroom in there?
There was a bathroom.
Did you shower?
But it was one of the hotels where the key was a physical key, and then you had to put the physical key into the wall to turn on the electricity. And then there was another physical key that they gave me to turn on the water. But you couldn't have the physical key in to turn on the electricity in the same time that the water was turned on. So if you had to use the water, you had to turn out all the lights. So your face.
Well,
it was 12 euros.
the Spirit Airlines of hotels.
I think even
I'm not
worse,
repping
bro.
this hotel. If anyone's ever been to that part of Spain, I don't know. It's by the ferry terminal. Anyway.
So you made it through the hotel.
I made it through the hotel 4 a.m. I left. The guy was like, "Where the fuck are you going?" And I was like, "Which way is the ferry? I'm going to Africa."
Yeah.
And I had a little like wallet thing that had my ferry pass in it, because I printed it in Madrid because I was really on it, guys. And I like started wandering towards, like, I thought if you walked in the direction of the water,
Sure, there'll be a ferry.
You would hit the ferry. That is not true. I ended up walking through what was basically the
Jungle.
the shipyard of what the crates they put on the ferry. So I'm like, at a certain point, I was like, I should not be here. This is where people get shot.
Yeah.
And so
Probably where drugs
Oh
get
my
smuggled, I
God.
assume.
it was like,
Marty, what are you doing? This is crazy.
should I really tell this full story?
I mean, now people are edging right now to
This is like Stephen King work.
to hear the end of
Yeah.
this.
Well, when I finally got there, anyway. Well, I'll speed it up because it's not. I feel like I'm alive now, so it's fine.
Yeah.
But ended up getting on the boat, and I was definitely the only white person on the boat for sure.
Yeah.
And I met these guys on the boat, and they were speaking either French or German, but enough of something that I could understand it. And I was like, oh my God, you're going to Morocco too. So I made friends with them and they took a picture of me and I was like, yeah. And then they were like, where are you going when you get to Morocco? Because they were on the ferry with a car.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I'm going to Tangier. And they were like, they looked at me funny, but those assholes didn't fucking say anything.
How
to
long
me.
is this boat ride?
So it was supposed to be 2 hours, I think, maybe a little bit less. It wasn't long.
But you're out in the deep ocean where you don't see land.
Yeah, because like where Europe and Africa meet, there's
Yeah.
a channel in
Yeah.
between. So you don't really see land when you're like smack dab in the middle.
All right.
And they kept looking at me funny. And
Sure.
I was like, they were like, you're going to walk to Tangier? And I was like, yeah, like my hostel's in the Medina. No fucking clue what the Medina was. Don't stay in the Medina.
Yeah.
If you can avoid it. That's a religious space where girls just don't. Yeah. Anyway, so I was like, your face.
I mean, I'm sure the ladies listening to this are pulling their hair out right now. They just can't believe that.
I was really determined to go to Africa.
Yeah.
It meant a lot to me that I could go to Africa. So, in hindsight, I could have just flown to Marrakesh, but no. So we got to mainland and they go to get in their car and they're like, this girl's psycho, like, good luck. They were like, do you need anything? And I was like, no. And in my head, I'm like, I'm going to exchange money there. So the conversion rate's better. Like, I'm so on it. Like all these things. I didn't even know what currency they used in Morocco. I didn't Google that before.
Yeah, I think they use humans. I think that's the exchange rate.
From Alaska.
I think white girls from Alaska is like probably the highest form of currency in Morocco.
It's so bad. And so then
Shout out to all the Moroccans.
Yeah. Shout out to Alaska.
Yeah.
So like anyway, we got in and there was some issue with my passport where they had to do something, like I had to sit and wait for the police to come for me to get off the boat. So I missed everybody else got off the boat and I got off the boat an hour or more later. And so when they finally got it figured out, I remember the boat didn't have a ramp. It just had a, like where the cars came off the ferry and you had to walk through that. And I remember like walking through it and the sun was coming up and it was just mountains. There was no city anywhere in sight. It was literally just mountains. And it was like
God.
maybe 2 guys were in the shipyard just looking at me and my little backpack and they were like, what the fuck is she gonna do?
Yeah.
And I feel like, there was a choice that was made there where I was like, I'm either going to step off this boat and go to Africa or I'm going to turn back around. And I was like, Oprah says there are some choices that like define us. And I was like, this one's going to be to step off the boat.
Shout out to
No,
Oprah.
I mean, look, as much as I would love to make fun of you, but I do feel like you accomplishing this is like, I guess this is what white people mean when they go find themselves. Like,
I guess.
this is
Like,
you finding yourself. I mean, this
wow.
is insane. Like there was so much chances for you to turn back and you just didn't. Like, I feel like once you achieve that, I guess that sets you up for the rest of your life being like, I can do anything, right?
I guess.
To Morocco, I feel like I was very like, that was just like blind determination to the point of stupidity. But sure, Ian, thank you. Yeah, so I got off the boat and I immediately burst into tears. Like, I wouldn't give me
Because you made it or because of the situation you were
because of
in?
the situation. It hit me that I was like, oh my God, like I was like, what do I do? Like, what do I like? because it was very clear that this was not the city. I had taken a boat to somewhere in Africa, but I did not know where. And it absolutely,
you could have been in Wakanda.
It wasn't on your hand-drawn map? It wasn't...
Okay, so...
That wasn't completely 100% accurate?
So the mountains area outside of that city where everybody camps in the mountains to rush the border of that Spanish city, that's called Tangier Med. Tangier is the city. It's like 400 kilometers away.
That's far.
It's really far.
It's about 320 miles.
And it's like over a peninsula, so I just went to the wrong side of Africa.
Wow.
So I got off the boat and
That's a sentence you don't never want to hear. I'm in the wrong side of Africa.
Or the wrong side of anywhere.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I'm in the wrong side of Brooklyn right now.
Yeah,
right?
You don't ever want to hear that.
No, definitely the wrong side of the Bronx. Woo.
It was not, yeah. So anyway, so then some dude, like I went up and I sobbed to somebody. He spoke no English and no German, so that was not helpful to me. And he spoke Arabic and Spanish, and so
That's a weird mix.
Not really.
Arabic and Spanish?
Yeah, a lot of
Spanish. Well, by Spain.
Yeah, right. everybody there spoke Arabic and Spanish.
Here's a fun fact. A lot of Spanish words are actually derived from Arabic.
Are they?
Yeah.
Arabic derives from Latin?
No, but just a lot of the words because the Arabic had actually conquered Spain.
Oh, Arabian Nights.
Huh? Shout out to Aladdin.
Learning so much.
Obviously, we are.
Shout out to Aladdin.
So
you're in this middle of the city. You got no phone. Your stupid map that you drew is off.
Hand drawn.
Yeah. And now you're in the middle of the mountains by yourself.
Well, this guy called some other dude who called a guy who had a bus. But then
a guy with a bus. That's never weird. A guy came with a bus. Thank God for him.
And so I got on the bus, and then the bus started going inland. And when it started going inland and I started to not see the ocean anymore, I started to panic. But me panicking would just look like I had my little backpack, and I was just rocking back and forth, and I was just saying Brave Cookie over and over again in the backseat of the bus. And the bus driver was just looking at me in the mirror, and I was like...
He didn't speak your language either.
No, he didn't speak any English or German. And so when the bus took me to this really weird place that I've tried to find on a map since, and I found it, but I still can't figure out what it was. But it was really, really, really it kind of felt like you died because it was like an abandoned airport with no planes. Like when they
like a hangar.
Yeah.
Like Resident Evil.
No, like there was TSA checks, like everything was there, but there was no people. There was not a single person in this building.
Shit.
And
it's
so
like Loki.
So the bus stopped and he just let me off it. And I was like, oh, this must be where the people are. Like this must be where Tangier is. And I got off and I went inside and there was not a single person. And I was like, and as the bus was going, I was seeing all of these guys, again, there were no women, all these guys on the road
Red flag.
doing a double take when they saw me on the bus. And I was like, so when I got into the building, I was like, oh, okay. And I was like, I can hide somewhere in here. If I have to, I could hide somewhere in here.
Yeah.
So I was walking around and I was I only had 17 euros on me and I didn't know where Tangier was because we were in the mountains. So there was an ATM by some miracle in the building and I sobbed when I found it and I just took out some amount of money. I didn't know how much.
Yeah.
And I was like, this has to be enough to get me to Tangier. And I couldn't find a person, but I found somebody who was working behind glass after I walked around for 15 minutes. And I just banged on the glass and I just started crying. And I was like, I need a taxi. And the dude was like, no. And I was like, no, you don't understand. I need a taxi. And he was like, you have to walk 5 miles that way. And I was like, no. You're going to walk 5 miles that way. And I'm going to stand here.
There you go. The inner Karen busting right out of you.
Right out.
That's nice.
International Karen.
This is when you became you.
Right? You blossomed.
Yeah.
And he just looked at me and then he started laughing. And then he went and he got his friend. And his friend was like, what? And he comes up and then he sees me. And
they spoke English?
No, but he went and got somebody and his friend came back with him and is like, what do you need, basically? And I was like, I need a taxi. I need a taxi and I need to go to Tangier. And I'd written down in my journal the name of the hostel. And so I was showing people my diary and I was like, I'm going here. And eventually...
Did you show him the map?
Scariest story ever.
Did you show him the map?
I don't think I showed him the map. No, because I wasn't like, the map had all these cute little dots with little drawings. Yeah. It was like dots. Aesthetically well
pleasing.
drawn. Yeah, it was a nice map.
Yeah.
And so like the guy eventually, they got like a bunch of people finally came until I pulled out all the money I had taken out from the ATM, and I was like, I need a taxi. And then somebody went and got me a taxi.
They walked 5 miles?
They walked somewhere and came back 45 minutes later and had a dude with a car. I don't think it was a taxi, but it was a dude with a car. And so that dude came, and I was like, and at that point my phone was dead. So
your iPad?
My little iPod thing, like it was completely dead. So I was like, any chance of finding Wi-Fi, I'd just given up on. But I didn't have more money. I didn't know how much money I had taken out. I think I'd taken out something like 400 euros, and I didn't know it.
That's a lot.
So I got in the car, and we drove the whole coast of Africa to Tangier. But we were driving.
How long was that drive?
I was probably in the car with him for like an hour and a half, something, 2 hours before.
No idea where you're
going.
going.
To stop. No idea where we're going. I had no idea where I was in Morocco.
Was it daytime at least?
It was daytime, yeah, because we got there in the morning. And at that point, I was like, I have won. I could see Spain again because the ocean was there, and I was like, I am the coolest person that has ever lived.
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing. Like, look at me go. I rock. And he stopped the car at one point and took this picture of me. And he was like, do you want a photo? Because he could tell that I was like really, really vibing. He plugged my phone in. I had cash. I was in Africa.
Yeah.
And he stopped the car and took this picture of me. And it's like one of my favorite photos to this day.
Sure.
Just because I had no idea what was coming.
Yeah, you could have been murdered.
I could.
Yeah.
But I wasn't.
But you wasn't.
I wasn't, Ian. That's the important part.
Yeah.
And so, and so we got back in the car after he took the photo, and I could see Tangier at the bottom of the hill, and I was like, I've made it. This is it. This is all the things. And they were like, this dude the whole time told me he didn't speak any English. Anything I said to him, he was like, no.
Yeah.
And when he asked if I wanted to stop the car, he literally turned around and mimed a camera. And I was like, of course I want a picture.
Yeah.
We talked about this on the vacation episode.
Yeah,
Ladies,
women,
always,
the pictures. Women in their pictures.
It don't matter if you almost trafficked or not.
Almost
I gotta
traffic,
get a picture. That's a fact.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm sorry.
Another movie taken, but you got that photo.
Literally, I got a set of skills, and I know how to use it.
But yeah, and then we got back in the car, and there was something in the road, and I stuck my head in between the two seats, and just like, he must have been so annoyed with me, because as soon as I saw there was something in the road, I remember I like stuck my head right next to his, and I was like, what's that?
Yeah.
And he was just like, he was like, sit back. And I was like, no, what is that? Because it was like these dudes in the road, but they didn't have uniforms on, and they had these like really, really old-timey style guns.
Yeah.
Like old-timey style guns.
Of course they did.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, sit back. And the window of his car was tinted. Like the backseat windows were tinted. So I was just like sitting in the back seat, kind of like, and people would say, like, said to me before I left, they were like, it'll either be a good story or a good time. And I was like, human trafficking is not a good story or a good time.
No.
And so I like,
that's a t-shirt.
Human trafficking
is not a good story or a good time.
And so I like sat back. I sat back in the car, and the guys came to the window, and they were like yelling at him in Arabic or Spanish or one of the languages, and he was like giving them shit he was like giving them money and then papers and then more, like his phone and all this stuff, and they were taking all his stuff, and they were going across the street and they were looking at it in groups. And I was like, oh, okay, so like in Morocco they must just not have like uniforms for police officers.
Yeah,
red flag.
That's one way of thinking about it.
Flag,
yeah.
But okay, all right.
And
these criminals with old-timey guns must be police officers.
Yeah.
And I didn't like really fully realize how like the situation I was in until I like looked to the side, and they didn't know anybody was in the back seat, because every time he opened the window, he only opened it a little bit, and I was like this in the back seat.
Yeah.
And also I think I was like the last person anyone would expect to see there. And so he like, there was a guy who had a gun that was like here, like strapped to his stomach. And he was standing at my window, so all I saw was the gun. And I was just looking at it like, I am not smart. So
It finally hit you. You finally got it.
It only took almost getting trafficked.
Yeah. There you go.
And so anyway, he had a car phone, which I didn't even know still existed. But
Did you travel back to the 80s? Like,
Yeah, they don't.
he
They
had
don't
it
still
was like
exist.
one of the ones that was like up here.
No.
And he like called somebody on this phone, and then another car that looked like a human trafficking vehicle pulled up in front of us because it was a much nicer car, and it pulled up so fast, I remember. And in like one movement, he was like, "You're getting out of the car," and I was like, "I am doing what?" And he got out of the car and went to the trunk. The dudes who were across the street like literally did like a double take, like, what the fuck did you just do? And he got out of the car and pulled out my little North Face backpack from the trunk and chucked it into the back seat of the car in front of us now.
Yeah.
And then yelled at me to get out of the car. And then I got out of the car and stood up, and like all of them really did a double take when I got out of the car.
Sure.
And he just like, and I just like saw them and saw the car and saw the look on their faces, and then bolted and got in that dude's car. And the second I got in that dude's car, we drove.
Fast.
Vin Diesel fast.
And we drove, and he spoke a lot.
English?
And a lot of English, yeah. He was like,
What the fuck are you doing here?
Yeah.
he was like,
Bitch, do you know where you at? Sorry, I'm just saying. But like, what?
well, he was basically like, oh my gosh, like, welcome to Morocco, you know, like American.
It's the walk. It's
It's a
tour
welcome
guide.
van.
welcome to
Oh,
Morocco.
okay.
He was like,
He's the welcome committee.
He was like, my cousin called me and told me that you needed a ride, and I'm here. I have you. Morocco was the first friend of America. We were the first people to recognize us as a country. And then he was like, we will not kill you. And he was like, and
Well, that's
I'm,
nice.
I'm
Okay.
sitting in the car like,
That's comfort. That is a little bit of comfort.
I'm such a dumbass.
At least you know you're not gonna die.
Exactly. At least you know you can make it home. There's a chance of you making it home.
And then he goes, I don't think it occurred. Never. But and then he goes, he's like, where are you staying? And I was like, the Medina. And he was like, and then he just went silent. Like, that shut him up.
Oh, shit.
And I was like, and like the Medina, if anyone's ever been to Tangier, like the Medina isn't on Google Maps. Like, even if I didn't have a hand-drawn map, it's not there because it's just a series of underground tunnels.
The plot thickens.
Dum dum.
So I paid the cousin or whatever, and he walked me to the Medina. And he also seemed to, like, he had all these, he was like, oh yeah, like everybody was related to him there. That he was like, my cousin's going to show you this and all these things. And I was like, oh no, thank you. But we like.
It's kind of like being in a black neighborhood or a Dominican neighborhood.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my
Yeah.
cousin.
No one's related in Alaska.
Yeah.
No. And we got there, and there was this German guy that was staying there, and I was just like beyond hysterical.
Was his name Al?
I don't remember his name, but he had like this giant ego. He was like biking across Africa, and he like
What an idiot.
he was like telling me that other people didn't pay enough attention to his Instagram, but he like the little common area there like was just me and him. So I kind of realized where I was. So I didn't really leave the hostel very much, but I had to stay until it rained. So you're nodding your head. So weird.
No, of course. You had to stay until it rained,
I
of
had to
course.
stay until it rained. So I stayed. I think I only had to stay like 3 days, but I stayed until it rained.
You
and
stayed in this hostel 3 days until it rained.
It was a really gross.
And then you was
hostel.
just like, oh,
So
I'm
they
done.
put me in the girls' dorm, and it was just me and this like 65-year-old crazy lady that screamed in the middle of the night. But I was too scared to leave because I didn't feel trust that I could find my way out of the Medina unless I was with somebody, and the German dude wouldn't take me until like
It rained? Oh.
So you
He was
chased
leaving.
the rains.
In Africa, literally.
So I would hang out on the roof of this hostel because there's like this older lady who wasn't crazy would like make me breakfast and tea, and I would hang out up there. And these French girls showed up eventually, and I think they made the same mistake I did. And
It's always some French girls.
and I stayed up there, and it rained, and I cried, and then I booked my way like my ass back to Spain, and I stayed in Tarifa. When I got back to Tarifa, they were really nice to me and were like, I can't believe you fucking did that. And I was
Moral of the story, sometimes in life, adulthood pro tip, sometimes in life, you have to risk sex trafficking and your livelihood and being dismembered and sold for parts so you can take a photo in the rain.
That, and also for you to get over a breakup.
Yes. Do what you have to do, because I bet you when you got home, you wasn't thinking about that guy anymore.
Nope. Or was it a guy or was it a girl?
It was a girl.
Do what
It
you
was a
have
girl.
to
You
do.
wasn't thinking about that bitch.
So all the ladies listening to
Bitch,
the
I
Adulthood
chased the rain in
podcast,
Africa's bitch.
listen to all the ladies. If you're going through a breakup, put your life in danger.
Put your life all the way in danger.
Risk your life,
Risk it.
and I guarantee if you survive, you will no longer care about
Think
that
about
man.
that. No, that person, right?
Yeah.
Because it's breakups are universal, right?
These are questions from the
the
people.
DM?
Yeah.
For everybody, thank you for sending in your questions. Keep
Yep.
sending them. We'll keep posting on the Instagram to send in your questions. And
Yep.
if you have any questions that you want us to answer, we'll answer them on the show.
And please remember, don't listen to us, but listen to the pod.
Yes, sir.
You know, the thoughts and opinions of the Adulthood Pod are those of the Adulthood
They're not
Pod.
even of ours, really.
No.
They don't even represent the views of me and DJ PM individually, but they
absolutely
do
not.
as a unit.
Collective.
Yeah. We're like an LLC.
That's right.
The Adulthood
Protected.
Pod is like an LLC.
We out here, you know.
A limited liability company.
Yeah, we
Right
get
here.
the PPP. You heard?
Yeah.
Why don't most men take risks?
That's funny.
And
coming
20
after
this
that story.
after this story,
Yeah. You wanna spearhead this?
can you expound? Who's asking? Is this a man or a woman or a them or?
It's a girl.
Uh-huh.
I think her name is Karen.
Shout out Karen.
And then that was just a question. I mean, in 2023, is it even safe to take risks? What kind of risks?
It depends what you mean. I mean, I feel
Yeah.
like men take risks. I took a risk. I decided not to go to law school and became a comedian. I didn't know I would have this hugely successful podcast.
Michael Rubin, right? White
Yeah,
Party.
I feel like men take risks.
Yeah.
Now I feel like you got to be more careful, right? Men, you was
have
living
to.
freely. It was a
Nope.
wild, wild west
Yep.
before, and now there's more rules that
way more.
we have to abide by. But I think
Yeah.
it's for the betterment of society.
Absolutely.
You know,
I agree 1000%. I feel like you got to take calculated risk. I know that don't make sense, but like if you're gonna take a risk, at least get as much information about what you're about to take a risk on.
Yeah.
And then fuck it, jump in the water.
yeah. Thank you for writing in, Ken.
Thank you. Shout out to Karen.
Good job, guys. How does a girl know she is the love of a guy's life?
Ooh.
Damn. Dum dum.
What would you say?
I would say if he tattoos your name on his heart.
That's it. If a man tattoos his
If he
name,
puts your name on his heart, on his finger, a ring finger.
the love of the life. I feel like that's a deep question because it's
very
so subjective. Like some men, you'll meet them and second date, they'll tattoo your name.
Yep.
They're
Face
they'll
tat.
sending flowers to your
Yep.
house. Yeah, they
Yep.
got everything.
Yep.
And then other guys will show you that you're the love of their life by what they do for you, right?
Or
By, like-
just not talking to you at all.
I feel like some guys do it by like being willing to like provide stuff for you, like
Yeah.
provide stuff that they wouldn't do for other girls.
Uh-huh.
But I think that they say this might sound like a little cliche, but they say that when it is like you just know,
No. Yeah, that's true.
you just know. When like if you're questioning it, I would probably say you're not.
But my question is also, are you ready for that? Because a lot of time too is that, you'll find women where a guy's just like, you're the love of my life, and then I need you and I want you in my life forever. And the lady's just like, I don't feel the same way. So it's a two-sided street,
Yeah, it's a two-sided. I think a man will let you know. I think a
Yeah.
man. Look, I'm not the kind of guy. I'm not gonna tattoo your name on my forehead.
No.
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 I'm not gonna do that. But if I'm willing to, you know how much guys like us care about our careers and being successful in this way. If you're willing to, I feel like if a man is willing to
Make time
and
time.
put
Yeah.
and put you in that equation
Plan brunch.
of if you have a man who's like serious about his career, and when a guy's about his business, right?
Yeah.
And he's willing to put you on the same level of that career, because for men who are like about their business, the career is like at the top.
100%.
Like that's like the top thing. Like obviously you have their family, mom, dad, whatever, but like aside from family, God, like the career is the top thing.
Very high.
If you're even like in the same
Conversation,
stratosphere as that,
yeah.
I feel like
Consider yourself lucky.
yeah.
But
I feel
also, like, if he starts like planning stuff for you and planning stuff for like your friends and your family, consider yourself high. I'm not talking about like regular stuff like brunch, like that's important. But start planning birthdays and handling tickets, and you all of a sudden he's like a flight travel agent where it's just like, okay, your grandma's coming in from whatever, and then your mom's coming in from here, and they're staying in the hotel. You're higher on the list. You know
if he
what I
sends
mean?
you on a one-way trip to Africa to change the reins, chances are
Run from him.
he's not the one.
He's not the one. He's definitely
You're not the love of his
Definitely
life.
not. Definitely not at all.
All right, we got to land this baby.
Woo!
Once again, thank you guys for listening to the Adulthood podcast. I hope you got some lessons on this podcast.
Chase the reins.
This was another wild one. Shout out to everybody who's listening to the podcast while they're out there finding themselves.
Yes.
Sometimes you got to find yourself, because if you survive, you learn who you really are.
And if you're 22 and if you're going through a bad breakup, hey, you know what? Cannabis is more like free now. Maybe just go to your local dispensary, smoke something, talk to the dispenser like, hey, I'm going through this.
There are cheaper ways. APM
Right?
is right.
There's cheaper, safer ways.
Cheaper and safer ways.
Shout out to Marty. Marty, that's
get
what
over
Marty
an
had
ex.
to go through. But like,
to lead her here.
how often does that story?
That's why she's so. That's why
She's
she can
fearless.
take. Yeah, she can take anything on this podcast.
Like,
because she's been
through
there
it.
and back.
through the ringer.
Yeah.
So,
Wait. This comes out on my birthday. Oh, I forgot. This
September
is my birthday
11th.
episode. Happy
September
birthday!
11th.
Happy birthday to me!
happy birthday to you, bro. I hope you don't go through no bad breakups where you feel like you have to go to Spain and then go to Africa.
Send me all the
birthday love.
happy birthdays. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for listening. If
I think you wanted nudes for your birthday, right?
Actually, you know what I want for my birthday? This is what I really want for my birthday. If you guys want to give me a birthday gift, share the podcast. Share the
Ooh.
podcast on your story.
Ooh.
Just share the podcast with a happy birthday and a nice comment about how much you enjoy listening to the Adulthood Boys.
Fire.
And that'll be enough for me. This weekend, I'm in Springfield, Massachusetts at Raw Comedy Club.
Shout out to Homer.
Next weekend, 22nd and the 23rd, I'll be in Seattle at Lab Seattle.
Getting some coffee.
The first weekend of October, 6th and 7th, I'll be at the Comedy Store in San Diego.
Ooh.
And the 13th and the 14th, I'll be at Laugh Boston.
San Diego.
Thank y'all for listening once again. Don't
Get some
forget to
cheddar.
like, share, leave your comments on the YouTube video, leave your comments on the page. We read them. We get back. Send your questions if you have any questions you guys want us to answer. Thank y'all for listening to the Adulthood podcast.
I'm Ian Lara.
And I'm DJ APM. Later.
Yes, sir.